Hi SUP chicks and SUP blokes. So it's been about a week since I repaired the leak on the patch on my paddleboard, and to be honest I'm pretty happy with how it's come through. I'm just about to put it in the pool and see if it has any problems underwater. As far as I can make out, there's no air leaks. It's been inflated for that full week. Let's just go back through the process of what I got to get it to this stage. So it's a bit of a long video, but yeah, hopefully there's going to be something in amongst it that might be helpful, because I found it really hard to find information online about the glues, what would work, what wouldn't work, and that kind of thing. But like I said, we're in a remote area here, so I can't easily get hold of the correct glue, so I did have to substitute a inflatable mattress one for it. So yeah, have a look at how I did it and then come back and we'll check out whether or not it works. Like most inflatable SUPs, mine came with a repair kit. So within the repair kit, we had a patch, a valve spanner to tighten up the valve should it be leaking, and also the mysterious glue. So it's a little hard to know exactly what this glue is. It doesn't really tell you a lot. And the fact that I've had the board for a good 5 or 6 years now, there's every chance that this is no longer viable. So I've given it a bit of a squeeze. Well, actually that bit there is really, yeah, I think that's gone off there. In fact, it feels like it's half empty. I don't know what we would find if we pierce it open. Yeah, there's nothing coming out of that at all. It's just a whole lump of hard stuff. So, I did buy this repair kit for an inflatable mattress. So, it's not the correct thing to repair it with, but it's the best I could do. We are very remote here and very limited in the options of what we can actually purchase, and on a limited amount of time I can't be sure that anything's actually going to reach us here before I actually need to use it. So the reason I got this particular one, it was in a camping store. It says that it's for vinyl, which is what the paddleboard is essentially made out of. So from that perspective it should stick. However, it's not marine grade, so whether or not it's going to be something that will last for any length of time, I really don't know. So we're going to try this one out and see how we go. So the reason I bought this one is because here you can see it says that it suits vinyl, which is what I believe the paddleboard to be made out of. I did assess the type of glue, the contents, against all the other glues available, and whether or not it's vinyl or whatever else inflatable mattresses are made out of. They all had essentially the same glue, so these combination of ethyl acetate, methyl ethyl ketone and polyurethane. Got a pair of old socks that's got holes in it, and I am going to put a hand weight into these, 1 kilo, and tie them together, and I'm hoping that what will happen is that I can create a nice soft surface to hold the patch in position while the glue goes off, because apparently it's going to take about 24 hours. So let's see how we go. So this is the leak. It's in and around this patch, which is right on the rim here, or the rail here I should say. So part of the patch is just starting to come away after about 4 years of being in place. So it should be a pretty simple repair. Just going to squirt some glue in there, put the socks, the weighted socks, over the top just to hold it in place while the glue goes off. But first we're going to have to inflate the board. So I haven't fully inflated it, I just wanted to get it into the approximate shape that it should be. And you can hear that the air's escaping anyway. Any more pressure in there and that would just blow out even faster and with more pressure, so making it harder for it to stick. Right, let's get the glue. So I can see what's going to happen here is the socks are going to stick to this. I was hoping I could make a cleaner go of getting the glue in underneath and not on top of the patch here, but I don't think that's going to happen. So I've just sort of a workaround, bear with me. So I'm going to get some cling wrap, stick that over the top. So the theory with this is that any of this extra glue is going to stick to the plastic and not to the socks. Socks in place, weighted down and holding the patch in relatively firmly. Got 2 kilos there, pushing down onto it. Okay, let's leave it to dry. Okay. So it's been a couple of minutes, and if I pull my ear really close I can actually hear that there's still air getting through there. So plan B, I am going to let some of the air out of the board and hopefully there'll be no pressure to push air out through the leak. So I've let some of the air out of the board, it's starting to sag, but yeah, I can no longer hear air hissing out, so hopefully that's enough air left in there to keep a little bit of shape, a little bit of structure, but not enough to push air out of the gap. So last thing I want to do is interfere with the fibres and things inside the board by introducing some of this cement or glue into where they are. To be honest, I don't 100% know what's inside the board, but I've seen pictures where there's lots of like fine hair-like strands that kind of essentially stop the board from inflating past this kind of thickness. So if the glue happens to get in there and start sort of sticking to them, we can have all sorts of fun things happen. So hopefully this will be fine as is to dry and seal, and we'll check on in another 10 minutes and have a look and see, because that's when the tackiness of the glue should really start the bonding process. So after an hour it seems pretty solid. I can't see any sort of soft gooiness squeezing out. So far so good. Okay, now the moment of truth. It's been 24 hours. We'll remove the weighted socks. And I'm expecting that this plastic will probably want to stick. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that. I thought that some of that would be left on there. Okay, let's have a look here. It actually looks like it's done a pretty good job. Maybe a little bit of a hole in there, but we'll put some more air into it and see what we're left with. I can still hear a little bit of a hiss, so we'll put some soapy water out and see if we can work out where it's coming from. So here, and there, so either ends. Okay, back to the drawing board. Just going to mark on where I can see the air coming out, so okay, so we are going to attempt to fill these other holes, and for that I need to make a bit more space, because the problem we're having is that the nozzle of the glue tube is too big to fit in here, and so when I fixed this first bit I wasn't able to get enough glue into the gap to actually do the job properly. Now the problem is that the glue that's still there is doing way too good a job. That's really seems quite stuck there. So I've outlined the areas where the leak was coming out with pencil, and just going to endeavour to make that a bit bigger so we can get a good amount of glue in there. I really think I'm going to have to get this properly fixed by the professionals once we get back over to the east coast. I mean, you could probably get it sorted in Perth, but we won't be going there anytime soon. Well, we'll be for our next adventure, where we're only to go to the airport. That should be heaps of space to right on in there. This one, I just don't know if we're going to get it open enough. Yes, I was really surprised yesterday when I took the cling film off that it actually just peeled right off. I really thought that it would probably end up sticking. Okay, there's a good chance that this board's going to collapse because there's next to no air in it now, but let's just put the pressure on. See how we go. Okay, 24 hours time, we'll come back and check it again. Okay, day 3 of the SUP repair. I'm almost a bit too worried to look. Let's take the weighted socks off. And now the cling film. That's just amazing how that did not stick. I couldn't believe that. So far it looks good. Let's pump some air into it and see what happens. Again, we are at about 4-5 psi, and I can't hear any air hissing out of the patch. Let's squirt with some soapy water. If there's air leaking out of it, it looks like it is a tiny little bit. I think it's good. Okay, so let's go for the next level of testing. We're going to take it to the pool. So it floats, that's a good start. So the bit that we have resealed is the bottom of the patch along here, so it's still above the waterline. So you're going to have to do some tricky manoeuvre to get it underneath the water, but also be able to take some footage of it just to see if there are any tiny little bubbles escaping that we couldn't see with just the soapy water. Wouldn't believe it's probably like 40 degrees out there and yet the water is still cold. Right, let's have a look at this patch. So I'm going to say that's a success. We're off on a trip at the end of the week. However, I think I'll take Neil's board. I'm just not sure how this one will cope with a week of fun and salty water, so just to be on the safe side, not ruin the trip, I'll take his and just keep an eye on this one over the next 6 months and keep you updated, see how we go with it. Cool, see ya.